my thanks to you for our partnership in the gospel. If you would open to the book of Philippians, chapter 1. Reading verses 3, 4, and 5. I thank my God in all my remembrance of you, always in every prayer of mine for you all, making my prayer with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. Paul was imprisoned in Rome when he wrote this back to the church in Philippi. And he wasn't sure whether he would ever see these people again. I didn't realize Paul was from the South until I read this verse here, you know. Always in every prayer of mine for y'all, making my prayer with joy. Well, I want to thank you this morning for your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. I recalled, Ruth and I were talking about this the other day, when the search team at that time notified us and we talked on the phone, and then they invited us out to come for a weekend and to meet with the committee and meet the church and preach on Sunday. It was the first weekend in December, actually, of 2006. It was a good time to leave St. Louis area and come this way. And so we flew into Las Vegas. It was in the evening. In fact, by the time we got our rental car, it was dark. And we were going to be staying at Chuck and Katie Sue Lewis's, who lived out in Hurricane at the time. They're now in Florida, but Katie Sue was a member of the search team, and they invited us to stay with them. And so we're driving up from Las Vegas, and it started pouring down rain. And it was pitch black. We were going through the gorge. We didn't even know it was a gorge at the time. You couldn't see. We found out later that it was a gorge. And so we called them on the cell phone, and told them our situation, told them, we were on our way. It was pitch black, pouring down rain. I mean, we thought St. George, it's supposed to be all this sunshine, dry weather, nice. And Katie Sue says, well, all right, keep on going. If you have any trouble, give us a call, and we'll send out the cavalry. And I thought right then, this is a church that really cares about what happens to you. So we got there in Hurricane, and in fact, it was a pretty bad storm. It never rains like that, or rarely here in St. George, where it just pours down, and the power was out in Hurricane. And we don't know where they live, so we're on the phone. They're trying to give us directions. Of course, the lights are out, so you can't see markers, or there's like a motel right across the highway from where they lived. We finally found it and pulled in, and Chuck is out by the curb with his hat on and a rain or umbrella. He's got his flashlight going like this so we can see. And so we pull up and park, and he says, well, let's run in the house. So we run in the house and get inside, and he takes a flashlight and he holds it up to his face. He says, I'm Chuck. So you can see who he is. This is Katie Sue. We thought, we like these people. And it was a great weekend. They showed us they had it planned to sort of entice us here. They had planned to took us to Zion, right about sunset, to the Majestic Lodge there. Where and had a meal there just as the sun was going. I know it was timed just for that purpose. But what a great experience. And then we had some meetings with members of the different boards during that weekend, and then that Sunday morning got to meet the whole congregation and preach. And immediately we just walked in and felt at home. It's like, I think this is home here. It just felt that way. And Elizabeth talked about that a moment ago. The friendliness of everybody in this congregation. It was a great experience. And then, of course, we didn't come. We flew back, of course, and then came back out in January of 06. Did I say December 06 a minute ago? It was 05, and January 06. Anyway, we started then the first Sunday in February, and the other thing I want to thank you for is then your willingness to serve, to be a part of the ministry here, and maybe a part of that is typifies the generation of this church. You know, somebody called it the greatest generation. People serve; they really serve, and I was overwhelmed by that right away. I want to thank you for the privilege of allowing Ruth and me into your lives these past 7 years. We've gotten to know some of your children, your grandchildren, baptisms, funerals, a couple of weddings. You allowed us into your lives to share your burdens and your dreams and all the things that were going on in your lives. And you know, we know that privilege isn't given lightly, and we don't take it lightly. And we just appreciate your trust in us to share your lives with us. I'm going to miss that. I want to thank you for the history, really, that's been a part of our experience these last 7 years, a history that will always bind us together when you think about the last 7 years. We've added 56 new members in these last 7 years, and that's been fun. You were willing right away to change the structure of this church. It was the old style Baptist church with a board of deacons, board of missions, board of education, board of this, board of that, committee of this, committee of that, and it was really just bulky. And you were willing to simplify the structure, which we did, writing a new constitution and setting up a single board structure with ministry teams. And that has worked so well, and it's the reason it's worked well is because of your willingness to serve. And immediately the emphasis changed from meetings to ministry when we went to ministry teams. And the ministry teams were focused on people's gifts and abilities, how God put you together, the passions that God has given you for different parts of ministry, and that's where you should serve. So there shouldn't be term limits where you serve on this board for this many years and then you're off it. No, that's not how God put us together. He's given us passions, and that's where we should serve. There isn't a term limit to that. And it's worked so well because you're serving where you want to, and that's where your passion is. And I've been impressed over these last 7 years as new people have come in and new members come in. And one of the things they say to me over and over in these membership classes is, I just can't get over how smoothly things operate here. And it's, it's nothing to do with me. It's that you're ministering where you are. In those teams, things get done because that's what people want to do those. It's been a wonderful experience. Another part of our history is just the building itself. We a few years back, we took out the hanging lanterns that were in here, hanging chandeliers that were in here that seemed like it almost felt like you had to duck when you walked in. It just visually made the ceiling lower. And we took those out and put in these recessed lights, put the speaker system in. And I really want to thank Pole Sound for their great work in that. The projectors and screens and all of that. And then, of course, the addition of Elliott Hall, which happened about 3 years ago. And I certainly want to thank Brooks Baker for heading up that whole operation, for being the point man for that operation. And I know many of you were involved in that. And I just want to thank you for your work in getting that done. And what an asset that's been to our congregation. That room gets used almost every day of the week in there. And the other thing it did, the other benefit for us, is that we didn't have to go down those stairs. A lot of people just couldn't make those stairs anymore. And so we really rarely use the downstairs nowadays, because if we can go right out that door into Elliott Hall, and we'll be doing that after the service for potluck. That's the other thing about this church. We love to eat. And we have such great cooks. That makes it nice. I want to thank you for your desire to see missions around the world. That's a mark of a healthy, good church, when they're not focused on themselves, but focused on what God's doing in other places and how we can help that, take the gospel around the world. And we've added some missionaries. I want to thank this congregation for adding my daughter Allison and her husband Craig and their family in their ministry in Ethiopia to the Gumuz people. And they'll continue to be coming back here on and speaking with the church when they're home on furlough. I thank God for His, and this is an encouragement to the present search team, for how God works to bring a prospective pastor and a search team together at the right time, in the right situation. And I know God's going to do that in the next situation. He certainly did it here, and it was just a match made in heaven. Let me just say a word about responding to the new person. I trust you'll allow him to be himself as you've allowed me to be myself these 7 years you're here. And I know you will, because, that's just that's just who you are. That's what's great about this congregation. That's the type of people you are. You allow people to be who they are, how God has put them together. And I know you will, the new pastor, and that you'll show him and his family the same love that you've shown Ruth and I since we've been here. I've been in the pastorate for 32 years, and this 7 years here has been my best experience of the 32 years, without question. And we've had good churches, but this is a tops. This is tops. You're a loving congregation. You're loving people. You love serving. You're supportive. You encourage. You're passionate about the Lord. You can't beat it. I don't know why I'm retiring. In fact, no, I'm not taking it back. But it's been a great experience. We're obviously looking forward to spending time with our grandchildren in Western Washington. But I'm amazed. I'm still amazed at the grace of God how God could take some hick from a small town in southeast Missouri